I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, Coach Xenia Barnes is a passionate guide to those on the path of healing. And she is presenting a transformative guide, strategies, in her book called The Recondition, a guide to loving yourself through the trauma. With insightful techniques, she offers readers a chance to rewire their brains for healthier thoughts, more positive emotions, and a deepened self-love. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank our team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing this very important book. Coach, thanks for joining us here today. So good to see you.
Thanks for having me. It's great to see you as well, Logan. Hope you're having a great day.
It is a terrific day, even better now that I'm talking to you. It is such an important book, The Recondition, because everybody has some kind of trauma in their life that they're dealing with. Some people have, a little bit of pain in their lives. Some people have a great deal of pain that they have to struggle with. What are some of the tools that you empower them with your coaching and with this book that you've written?
Well, the recondition was put together because I myself went through some different traumatic experiences, and I noticed while I was trying to navigate through all my thoughts, feelings, emotions, like there was just some missing pieces. I feel like everyone is taught that when you go through something, you have to push through. So resilience is what always comes first, right? But no one teaches you about how to stay connected to yourself and how to learn to love yourself when you're going through all that hurt. And so some tools that you get through the book is learning how to just shift your mindset, is learning about how to create safe emotional boundaries. There's tips and tools and strategies for identifying who's your safe net, your safety net, your community of people, and then just different activities that you can do to help you along the way. While there are many books that talk about self help, a lot of them don't give you the actual techniques. So they give you an introduction, but they're missing the techniques. And so what sets the recondition apart from those books is here I'm giving you the techniques, improving strategies and techniques that I've used myself to help me along the way.
Exactly. It's tough for people who are struggling with past traumas. A lot of the scripts that we have in our brain have been written for us when we're young, and we need to kind of rewrite or rewire, as you say, the way we look at things and the way we perceive things. Don't you think?
Definitely. I believe that we grew up with our parents giving us the best that they had and the best knowledge and tools that they had. And as we grow up and become adults, we then have our own experiences and we learn different things along the way that we can then say, well, you know what, maybe that wasn't the best. This strategy now works for me. So you kind of have to either learn to undo
Mhm.
some bad behaviors or some triggered behaviors and things of that nature so that you can relearn or so that you can learn the correct way. But again, this all comes from experience and then knowing what best works for you and your healing process.
Absolutely. Now, the book delves into the importance of rewriting your story after a trauma. Tell us about what inspired you to highlight this aspect and how it helps people begin the process of what you call re-narration.
hmm what inspired me is I have always been a very active person, active in the community, advocating for others. I was a school administrator, going to the different students' games and things of that nature. And then I was diagnosed with a terminal lung disease called pulmonary fibrosis. Along with that, I was diagnosed with lupus and Sjogren's autoimmune disease on top of my asthma, right? So all those conditions came tumbling down in a matter of months during the pandemic. And so I was stuck at home with trying to identify like what does my life now look like. The doctors didn't know exactly what was wrong with me for a while, so it was just in and out of going to the hospital, running different tests, passing out without even knowing when it was going to happen. So there were so many different things happening, and I couldn't understand what was going on with me. And my family was doing the best to support me, but we were all going through this sense of trauma together while they were putting on this brave face for me, trying to keep me from panicking. And then I was putting on a brave face for them, trying to not have them worry about me. And so that kind of brought me to the process of the reconditioning, because I had to think about, what does life look like for me now? Because I can no longer do the things that I used to do. So I had to stop working. I had to, like, I was unable to walk for more than a minute. I was unable to stand up on my own. I needed someone to help me stand up. As you can see, I'm now oxygen dependent, and I went from being this very capable person to a dependent person. I was a choreographer. I used to choreograph dances for state championships, and regional and national. And it's like there was so much to me going to the gym 4 days out of the week, and to then be told that I wasn't able to do any of those things because I only had 36% functionability between both of my lungs, and I need a double lung transplant. It was like, that was such a shock. It was such a shock to my mind. It was a shock to my body. And I really had to do some reconditioning, rewiring, self-navigating of how I will be able to come through that.
Mm. Yeah. And your
Mhm.
energy and your spirits are still up. So you have found a way past this grim diagnosis that would bring anyone down, the realities of your limitations now. So how have you found the power to stay positive in light of your situation?
Honestly, I would have to say it was a lot of leaning into my faith, and it was a lot of just knowing that I must have more to do. Right. I've always been an optimistic person. And my family has been so supportive. And like I said, this was such a hit because I couldn't understand why this was happening, since I've never was a smoker. So like, to have something that's impacted my lungs is like, wait, like, why me? Why me? And doing that, going down that rabbit hole, it just was no good for me.
Yeah.
It was no good for me. And I realized, like, if I don't find a way to fight, then this thing is gonna swallow me whole. And so, in writing down my thoughts and trying to make sense of them, this book came about.
Yeah.
Because it was a part of my process. It was a part of my healing journey. And I just realized, I was thinking, like, there has to be other people out there who's experiencing this. And if I know that I feel like there's no way for me to get this information, then this information needs to be recorded.
Yeah.
And so I wrote the book.
Absolutely. Now, your website is also terrific. Tell the folks at home the name of your website and the types of services you offer on it.
Awesome. So my website is called Gold Mine Thoughts. And the title is ironic because it was all about, these golden nuggets that everybody, you have all these great ideas, right? And it's like, okay, so what do I do with them now? So that's why I call it Gold Mine Thoughts, because your golden thoughts, then working with me, you can process them out and learn how to spin them from thread into these golden nuggets, into these, and into gold. So it's Gold Mine Thoughts. And what I do is I coach individuals how to go through their process to take one thought from a brainstorming phase and build it out into something great, whether it is life coaching, whether it is leadership development. A lot of the work that I do is to help just break generational cycles of trauma so that you can be the best version of yourself. And whether that is becoming a transformational leader, or whether that's just becoming a whole individual. So I have services called like Grieving to Heal. And my Grieving to Heal services are for survivors of gun violence or any type of violence. And that is very near and dear to my heart, because myself, I'm a survivor of gun violence. And so again, that was another traumatic shock that I felt that needed to be able to a space where people feel like I'm not alone and I don't have to go through this alone. Because when you're going through a trauma, most people feel alone in that sense. And when you feel alone, the darkness really, it really gets to you. So it's about creating these communities so you no longer feel alone. And then I have my reconditioning package, which is about loving yourself through the trauma. So when you go from that grieving stage and now you feel like you've transitioned and you to a space where you can think outside the box and move on to the next step. Now we go on, how do I learn to re-love myself past this trauma, past this event, so that I can start to put one foot in front of the other.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, your website's wonderful. The services you offer are terrific. And this book, The Recondition, A Guide to Loving Yourself Through the Trauma, is a must read for just about everyone. Like I said, we're all running a race in this life. Some of us have a few bricks in our backpack, others have it completely filled up. But regardless of whether you're carrying a small burden or a large load, it is vital that you learn the strategies, that you look at the questions that the coach provides and the exercises that she provides within the pages of this book. It will turn around your life, it'll rewire your brain, and it will supercharge your heart. Coach, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
No problem. Again, thanks for having me.
Oh, it was my pleasure. True honor. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.